Hi, I'm Brett Jennings, and for the last 12 years, I've traveled the country to meet, mentor, and mastermind with some of the brightest and best minds both inside and outside of real estate. I've taken those ideas, brought them back to our team of experts, and sold hundreds of homes per year all across Silicon Valley, and this is how we do it. Hey there, Brett Jennings with Real Estate Experts here, and I wanted to start the conversation today around the changes that have been happening in real estate. I've gotten phone calls from a few different agents recently that are asking me, hey Brett, what do you see happening? Because there's big things that are happening in real estate right now. For those of you who don't know, Compass, one of the venture-backed brokerages that's going in and buying companies, has recently acquired Alon Pinnell Realtors. Zillow is making some big moves and changes. They just ousted their CEO, who'd been in there 10 years, Spencer Raskoff. Keller Williams has launched some new technology. There's a lot of things changing in real estate, and they were asking me, hey Brett, I know you kind of study the landscape of real estate. What do you see happening, and where are things going? So I want to take about 10 minutes here and give you guys kind of an overview of where I see residential real estate going with all the venture capital money that's been poured into real estate in the last 2 years, which is, by the way, $6 billion, just to give you an idea how much money that is. The total market cap of the largest real estate group in the world, NRT Realogy, that owns Century 21, Sotheby's, Coldwell Banker, Climb Real Estate, and a few other brands. That's the largest real estate company. They're valued at about $3 billion. And $6 billion has been put into real estate by all these venture capital companies. And so I want to talk a little bit about where that money's going, what likely will happen. And so you can decide, hey, where is the best place for you to be as a real estate agent? And as I introduce this conversation, I want to let you know, I don't have a vested interest in any particular company surviving. I'm really interested in what's going to be best for the consumer, because whoever wins this and gets it right for the consumer or the client or the customer will definitely have longevity in the business. And then secondarily, I want it to be good for the agents. If we're going to still be in this business, it should be a business that we want to still be in and it's worthwhile for us. So let me walk through kind of where I see things going. Now, interestingly enough, I'm going to draw kind of what I call the market here. Interestingly enough, if you look, and this is the market. Okay, so this is the upper end of the market. This is the median. And this is the lower end of the market. Okay, and for us here in Silicon Valley, our median is about 1.2 million. Is our median. I would call the upper end of the market 3.5 million plus. And then our lower end of the market is probably going to be what, 500K is kind of where the entry level of our market is. Now, typically what we've seen in other service industries where technology players came in and disrupted the market bifurcates or separates into two tiers. And what you end up having is a low-cost discount model. And then you have kind of something that's a high-service boutique model is what's left. For example, if you look at stock brokerage, we used to have travel agents. We no longer have travel agents. What came in? Expedia, Travelocity, Orbitz came in, and they basically took away the job of the real estate agent. I'm sorry, the job of the real estate agent. Took away the job of the travel agent. Now, there are still some travel agents. And who are they? What do they do? There's very few of them. They do a lot more business and they make a lot more money than the average travel agent. And these are luxury travel, corporate travel, and say like sports teams and group travel. Okay. If we look at what happened with the finance industry, we used to have stockbrokers were the main peddlers of investments of the day. They were taken out by Scottrade, E-Trade, Ameritrade, a low-cost, simple technology solution. And then there are still stockbrokers, however. And what they do now is they became the best of them, became private wealth managers and personal financial planners. There's fewer of them, they do more business, and they make more money. And this is where I see real estate going in the future. Now, I do think it will actually separate in real estate. It's going to separate into 3 tiers. And this is kind of where we see things going. And by the way, kind of where my perspective comes from, I'm not speaking just out of some general ideas. Over the last 6 months, I've taken time and flown across the country. I've met with Robert Redfin, the CEO of Compass Real Estate. Just recently, I met with personally one-on-one with Gary Keller. He's the CEO and founder of the largest real estate company in the U.S. And just last week, I met with Greg Schwartz, the president of Media and Marketplaces, who's in charge of Zillow's Premier Agent Program. I'm actually part of their advisory board. I took that role because I wanted to see what Zillow was doing in this shaping and redefining of what real estate looks like. The moves they make are going to affect us, and I wanted to see that. So I took that opportunity. And I'm going to share with you here where I think it's going. Ultimately, we have, in this lower end of the market, we got a couple things. One player you guys are all familiar with is Redfin. Okay, Redfin is in the market, and what they're going to do, Redfin, their model is 1% listing, and then they also give a rebate back to the buyer. All right, so that's going to be the kind of in the lower end of the market. The other major player that you haven't seen yet here in the Bay Area, but they are coming as close as Sacramento at this point, is a company called Open Door. If you're not familiar with Open Door, their model is, hey, look, if you need to sell your house, don't sell it through an agent. We'll buy your house. Instead of charging you a 6% commission and you having to wait 30, 60, or 90 days to get your money, we'll give you a check in 14 days, and we'll charge you 8% commission, just a little bit more than a traditional agent, but you don't have to worry about anything. Open Door is in markets like Dallas, Houston. They're coming into Sacramento. The bigger one that they just acquired, though, is called Open Listing. Okay, and as I talked about in the intro of this video, when we've seen technology players come into the market, they typically come up with a technology-driven, low-cost, more of a do-it-yourself model, like Scottrade, E-Trade, Ameritrade for finance, or Expedia, Travelocity. This Open Door, Open Listing is going to be mostly technology-driven. There isn't really any agents in the equation, per se. Redfin, as you know, is a salaried corporate agent model. The one thing that's essential to understand about these is both of these companies are gaining market share. Number two is they have the consumer at the center of their world, meaning they wake up every morning saying, hey, how can I make it better for Joe Buyer or Jane Seller? And they want to do it as cheaply and as effectively as possible. How much market share will these guys get? Well, if we look at metro markets where they've been there for a while now, like Dallas, they're going to take up about 20 to 25% of the market. Okay. The other major player, obviously, that you're hearing about up here is Compass. Okay. What is Compass? Who are they? Compass started in New York. A little bit about their leadership. Robert Redfin worked for Obama in the Department of Housing and Urban Development for a very short period of time, but his primary background is with Goldman Sachs. He is an investment banker. They started that company with one strategic objective. Okay, they want to get as many agents as they can under their umbrella, roll up as much volume of business so they can go IPO. Okay. In regards to where the consumer or the client sets in their level of priority, IPO is their number one priority. I would say agents are their number two priority. And the client or consumer is number three. Okay. So as I mentioned, if we look at disruptive models in the past, the ones that won the game, Uber, Airbnb, they put the customer at the center of their model, and that's how they dominated. Compass, if you look at their acquisition strategy, the companies that they have acquired, their profile, they're going for the upper end. Their agents are going to be primarily sphere of influence based. And yeah, I mean, that's what it is. Sphere of influence in the high end. Alon Pinnell was a perfect acquisition target for them. As far as what they're offering, they're making an effort to put together some technology. I say making an effort because they're supposed to be a technology company. 18 months ago, they put out a strategic initiative that they were going to create their own CRM. And up until about 4 months ago, they finally launched their own CRM, and they had to actually pull it back because it didn't work. They did a public apology, and then recently just acquired a CRM company because they couldn't build it themselves, called Contactually. So, as you listen to and hear all the different things in the marketplace, just dig a little bit below the surface and find out what's really going on with all of these players. But they're going to look to create a technology-driven model that's going to make it more efficient for the solo agent. And I think Alon Pinnell is a perfect acquisition for them. If you look at the typical profile of a Alon Pinnell agent, they were primarily sphere of influence based, doing between 10 and 5 to 15 or 5 to 20 transactions a year in the higher end. If that is your sphere of influence, are the $3 to $5 million buyers and sellers, Alon Pinnell or Compass could be a great solution or home for you. So the question is, we see what's happening in the bottom end. That's the bottom half of the market. This is, say, the upper 10% of the market. And what's happening in this big space right here? This is 65% of the market, hovers around the median, okay? 65% of the market. Who's the dominant player there? Number one, it's Zillow, okay? Zillow is obviously not a broker, but they are a dominant player. 70% now of all consumer search happens or starts on Zillow. They may end up connecting with an agent and then they get on some other type of search platform, but Zillow has 70% consumer mind share, okay? We actually have been partners with Zillow. We've been buying advertising with them for a while, and that is going to change. Zillow is going to change their model, so that's one thing we can count on. The second player that you guys want to know about is a company called HomeLight. HomeLight is a website. They don't do home valuations. They don't offer property search. They have one value proposition and one value proposition only, and that is how to find the best agent in any market, okay? If you see them on TV now, they're spending $2 million a month on television, and they say, looking to buy or sell? You want to know who's the best agent? Come to HomeLight. Agents can't pay to be on our website. So what they're doing is they're crunching MLS data, and they're serving up the top 3 agents in any zip code that someone wants to buy or sell in. And they're very, very effective. We're currently generating a good amount of business from them. Here's what I see happening going forward, okay? Compass is going to continue to do their thing. They're going to grow that brokerage. They're going to push to grow agent count and volume so they can get towards this IPO. They're very much a traditional brokerage model. The agents kind of find their own business. They can leverage their technology to become more efficient, but nothing game-changing for the consumer, okay? What I see happening with HomeLight and Zillow, here's what you need to know. Zillow is going to be moving towards a referral-based model, okay? Right now you can buy leads from Zillow, but what they've determined is that about 20% of their agents close 80% of the transactions or the leads that are generated on Zillow, and they're interested in just working with that 20%. So Zillow is basically going to, if you were Zillow and you were generating a lot of leads, who do you want to give those leads to if you're going to get paid a percentage on the referral fee? Obviously those agents that can close the best. So Zillow will be driving their leads and opportunities to the groups, I'll call them groups for now, that can close those transactions the best. Here's what's happening with HomeLight. HomeLight is finding the top 3 agents in any area, and they are driving opportunity to those people. So these 2 big consumer-facing brands right now in the marketplace, and by the way, some of you might say, well, a lot of my sphere of influence, I don't think they'd go and use a Zillow agent, or they don't go to Zillow. The stats show that of the 5 million transactions that happened in real estate last year, over 4 million of the 5 million people who bought or sold a home, they went to Zillow at least in some point in the process. 1 million of the 5 million people who transacted real estate did so with an agent on Zillow. Maybe that agent bought leads, maybe they didn't, but that agent was on Zillow. So right now Zillow has about 20% market share, and they're converting about 2.5% of the opportunities or the leads that get generated on their website. What they know is that if they have the best agents on the other end of receiving those leads, they can get that conversion up to about 6%, between 5 and 6%. So they can double. Zillow can get to the point where they're driving 2 million real estate transactions per year, which is about 40% of the market. Okay. HomeLight, again, is going to be driving opportunities to the top 3 agents in any zip code for all of those people who come across HomeLight. And they are gaining market share as well. So given all of this, we see Compass at the top end, okay? They're going to occupy 10%, about 10% of the market in the upper end, concentrated in our market in that $3 million plus range. Okay, Redfin and Open Door. Redfin is gaining market share. Open Door and Open Listing. Open Listing will for sure be here. They're going to take up some market share, let's say 20 to 25%. And again, the 65% is left around the median home price, and that's the business to be had. Most of the agents I talk to are working sphere of influence and open houses. That business will still be there, but understand that these players here in the middle that have a lot of consumer brand power, let's call it, will be gaining market share. And they're going to be driving those opportunities to the agents, one, that are providing a great consumer experience. Zillow's now measuring their agents, not just on reviews, but they're actually doing customer surveys. And then agents who can convert. So my prediction for the future is we're going to see less agents. More business is going to get driven to fewer and fewer agents. So the question becomes, what's your strategy to get ahead or be a part of that process, to put yourself in the flow or in alignment with that? We here at Real Estate Experts have built a model where we are leveraging Zillow and HomeLight, and we drive all of those opportunities to our agents and partners. I do have a team, Brett Jennings Group, that operates at Real Estate Experts, but we also have independent agents who work at Real Estate Experts. So if you're wondering what's happening in real estate, this is what's here, this is what's coming, and the question for you is, where do you want to find yourself in this mix? Are you going to be a luxury agent? Is that where your sphere of influence is? Do you have those kinds of opportunities that exist within your sphere? Maybe Compass is a great home for you. If you want to be a salaried agent, Redfin is a model for you. Or if you're in the middle, well, it doesn't really matter what brokerage you're at. You could be at Coldwell Banker, you can be at Sotheby's, you could be at Century 21, you could be at any number. Zillow and HomeLight, they don't care what brokerage you're at. They just want to partner with teams and top producing agents so that they can drive opportunity to those. When they talked about looking at who converts the best, whether it's a solo agent, a team, or a brokerage, when they put those leads in the hands of people, teams consistently are coming out with the best conversion. So that's a summary of kind of what's happening with real estate, where things are headed. If you are interested in learning more about the Real Estate Experts model, how you can get a bigger share of this Zillow and HomeLight opportunities to help drive the growth of your business, then reach out to us. Click on the link on the right to schedule a consultation or join our monthly mastermind. But hope this conversation was helpful. Until we talk again, this is Brett Jennings saying, don't just be an agent,